guys! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, and today we are going to be doing a June reading wrap-up and talking a little bit about my TBR for July. And I have like a small book haul, so this is gonna be kind of like a compiled everything book video. So settle in, this might be a little bit of a long one. Grab a drink. I am sipping on this Two Town Cider House Cosmic Explorer Raspberry Cosmic Crisp. It is a raspberry cider. I'm 26 years old. I am very much allowed to drink alcohol. But grab a snack, grab something. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, comment down below what you want to be reading in July, or if you had a really good book that you read in June, let me know down below. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I would love to have you as a part of our little growing community, and let's just hop in. When I was writing this script, I actually thought that June was a really rough reading month for me, but upon further inspection, I'm finding out that we had 3 5-stars and I think 2 4-star books. So honestly, like, even though I didn't read a whole lot of books, I have 7 books that I read. Even though that's a little bit less than other months, I really do think that the quality of the books that I read this month was very, very good. I'm just excited to talk with you about those today. So the first book I'm going to talk about is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I gave this 3 stars, so obviously didn't start things out awesome. I gave it 3 stars because this book is just vibes. Like, there's really not a whole lot to it. It's about a girl who goes to a wedding for her cousin, and it's on this plot of land that these like rich people go to every summer in like in the New England area. You know how rich people do. They go to the Hamptons or, you know, a summer house of some sort. And it's like this huge thing. There's like 5 or 6 houses, and then a ton of cousins like camp on the beach. Like, it's just wild. But it's a little romance about like this girl and then the groom's stepbrother. And I thought that it was very cute. I thought that it was like really sweet. I think that this book would be a very good representation of like a good relationship if you know. Also, it's also a clean romance. So, while all this is happening, like, pretty much everyone is also grieving and, like, processing the death of our female main character's sister, who there was, like, an accident when she went to go visit her cousin down in New Orleans where she went to college. But the way that this accident is written, it makes me think that the author has never been to Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I thought that it was an easy summer read. I think it's something, you know, that could really be enjoyed by the pool. I listened to the audiobook when I was traveling for work in early June. And, I mean, I thought it was a good time. It was a fast read. Really, like, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible, you know what I mean? The next book I read was Bright Young Woman by Jessica Knoll, and I gave this 5 stars. This book is amazing. It's about a serial killer that breaks into a sorority house, and it's told in the POV of the president of that sorority house and how they have to deal with all of kind of the bullshit that happens surrounding like women victims of male serial killers. Things like, you know, what was she wearing? How was she acting? You know, why was she acting that way? Was she somehow asking for it? Was she romantically involved with this person? Just like a lot of BS that like women have to deal with when men do bad things, essentially. There's also another POV, but it doesn't come in until a bit later in the story, so like I don't think it's a spoiler, but like I really didn't connect with that storyline as well, so I'm not gonna talk about that here. I loved how much female rage there was in this book, and I wouldn't say that it's like a fun read, but I think that it's a very important read. This is a work of fiction that is based off of Ted Bundy's attack on the Chi Omega House at Florida State University in 1978. And as I said before on this channel, I'm really not one for true crime because I think that the ethics around true crime content tend to really sensationalize serial killers, and people talk about like, oh, well, if it had been me, I would have done like XYZ so that I would have gotten away with it. And I just think that that's like really weird, and I feel like we have this kind of disconnect from like people actually being hurt and killed by these things. And so just to like put a little bit more on there, I am going to read what I put on Goodreads. So I said, this book is so important in the time of all these serial killer documentaries played by super handsome men, trying to get us to sympathize with them. What about the numerous victims of these heinous crimes? This story is so powerful and heartbreaking, and anyone who says they have a favorite serial killer should read this book and realize the implications of what the hell they are saying. Yeah, that's just something like I feel very strongly about. And then I finished Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home by Jessa Hastings. I gave this book 5 stars. I think in this book, at least for the first Magnolia Parks book, I really didn't understand the appeal of Magnolia and BJ's relationship, but in this one, I got it like right away. I think maybe it's just because they're a little bit older in this book. I think they're more like 23, 24, and I'm sure they're like 25, 26 and into the dark, which is the age I am now, so like I'm excited to get to that book, I guess. It's a race to Into the Dark. I loved this. I think that if you read the first book and you were like, why do these two love each other? What is it about them? Like, I don't get it. I was that way. And then I read Daisy Hates and I was like, okay, but then I read this and you just get it. And I don't know how else to explain that other than it just suddenly makes sense and it's amazing and wonderful. And it did take me a while. Like, this is a chunk of a book, but like I just never wanted it to end, and I think that's why I'm so excited to get to Into the Dark. And then I listened to on audiobook The Lost Hero, which is the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. I gave this 3 stars. It is a middle grade novel, and this was such a wonderful way to start a series. Honestly, this is making me want to go back and reread Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I haven't read it since high school, and I definitely would buy like a box set of them. I actually was going to the other day, but they were all hardcover, and hardcovers hurt my wrists because I crochet too often. But that is absolutely just a me problem. But I thought that the characters that we had were so dynamic. I think that this entire book is really shrouded in mystery, and we're just constantly asking like, why? And I feel like towards the end of the book, we find out why, and it leads into the second book really well, which I will talk about later. I thought it was really good. I thought the characters were, like, had a lot of depth to them. I will say sometimes the jumping POV is kind of difficult, but at least, like, the 3 POVs we get, like, they're characters that are always together because they go on a quest, because it's, you know, that's how the Olympians do it. That's, you know, how our demigods do it. They're always going on a quest somewhere. We're gonna save the world. We only have a couple days to do it. But I'm excited for the rest of the series. I think it's really good. I love Rick Riordan. I love middle grade YA books, whatever you want to call them. Next was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I gave this 4 stars. This book is so important. If you watched my reading 200 pages a day reading challenge, this book made me cry. It made me cry very, very hard, and I was like tabbing it and writing in it and all this stuff. The only reason why I gave this 4 stars instead of 5 is there were just little parts where it dragged, and I just kind of felt like and most of the time the places I thought dragged were times that we didn't have Lucy Gray. I love her. I love her so much. So in this book, we're following a young Coriolanus Snow as he's about to graduate high school, and he was handpicked to be a mentor of the 10th Hunger Games, which is a very high honor, and he is sure that this will get him like a university scholarship. Of course, like, things derail, and if you've seen the movie, like, you know what happens. I love this sort of villain origin story. Snow is horrible in the best possible way. We can both sympathize with him and also be angry about the things that he's done, because we have not made him like a morally good or bad person or character that just suddenly like snaps and is like the most terrible thing you've ever seen. Like, he inherently is pretty narcissistic and is only thinking about himself, and we see that throughout the entire book. We see these tender moments. We see who he, like, kind of has love for, but at the end of the day, like, it's about him. It's interesting to see the way the adultier adults in Snow's life shape the way he feels about, like, the Hunger Games and human nature and power. And I thought this was a great book. If you really liked The Hunger Games, I think that this is a very good prequel. Don't go into this thinking it's a love story. It's not. I know that a lot of people can get hung up on the romance of it, but the romance serves a very, very pointed purpose in this book. And there were definitely parts where I was like, oh my god, like, Snow's a smooth talker. He's a charismatic man. That's how he's supposed to be. You know, that's obviously how he gets into power in the original trilogy. I mean, he's already in power when that starts, but that's how he gets to powers. He's super charismatic. He knows what to say, but he is very, like, calculated in that way, and we see this. We see that in the book. It's amazing. Just read it. So then the next book I have is Circe by Madeline Miller. This has been on my TBR for years. I bought it at Target. As you can see, this stupid sticker they put on everything. So this book follows the minor goddess Circe, who is the daughter of the Titan god Helios. And if you are familiar with the Odyssey by Homer, you know that Odysseus ends up on Circe's island for a long time. And so in this book, it is before she even gets banished to the island. You find out why she's there. And I think that this book is really cool. It follows Circe through thousands of years. Obviously, it's not a 1,000-page book, but we learn a lot about, like, who Circe is and explores themes of what it means to have power, like, make mistakes with that power, and what it means to be a woman. And this also has that same very ethereal writing as the Song of Achilles, and I think is a kind of great follow-up. If you have read that book, I think that you would really like this book. Bear in mind, this book very much is a character study. And I know that the Song of Achilles is too, but there's, like, a lot of other dynamic things happening around Achilles in the Song of Achilles. This is very much, like, Circe-centric. So, just so you know. Okay, and the last book that I read for the month of June was Survive the Night by Riley Sager, and I gave it 2 stars. I thought this book was very slow, and I thought that the main character was really odd. It's a woman who's written by a man, and I guess, like, I would have to go back and see what other books I've read that were written by men. I just thought that it was so odd the way our main character thought. It just did not come off as, like, from a woman's brain, and I'm sure maybe men feel that way when women write men. I'm not sure, but that's how I felt with this book. Nothing really happens until around 75% of the book in, and it is a thriller, so I don't want to, like, give you too much, but here's, like, a short synopsis of it. So after the murder of her best friend, Charlie is our main female character. She wants to drop out of college, which really she should have just moved dorm rooms, but for whatever reason her stupid school made her stay in that same dorm room for months, which as someone who went to college and, like, I don't know why. College students talk about morbid things, I think in general humans do, but, like, nobody would stay in that room after something like that happened to them. She takes a ride from a complete stranger instead of waiting a few days for her boyfriend to get done with classes so that she can, like, go home. So she just, like, hitches a ride with a random person. The book also tries to say that this is, like, something that's, like, kind of normal, and it's not. Like, at least not a complete stranger. Like, I've heard about some people, like, riding with, like, a classmate or something if they maybe live in the same hometown, went to the same high school. Like, no, they're not bestie boos, but that works. Like, nobody does this. Like, it is so stupid. And she suddenly thinks that this guy is, like, the one who killed her friend. The twists were good, but like I said, they weren't until the very end, and I, like, didn't feel, like, suspense the whole time. Another thing that I've seen people bring up about this book is our main character, Charlie, does have kind of, like, a mental disorder, if that's what you want to call it. Like, she hallucinates. So, like, she doesn't know what is reality and what's not, and I feel like that was kind of used as a crutch in this book to, like, not really understand what was going on, and it was kind of used to confuse the reader, and, like, I just don't know how I feel about, like, a mental health problem or, like, a mental disorder being used in that way. But that's just my thought process. Yeah, I do want to read other Riley Sager books. I've heard good things. Alright, and so next we're going to hop into books I want to read in July. So I have finished one book already, which I will talk about in my reading wrap-up. But I am reading The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan. That is on Kindle Unlimited, so that's pretty cool. I get to read on my Kindle because I like just like snuggling up at night. So that's pretty nice. I did start last night Daisy Hates the Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings. I sat down and read 100 pages like that. That was like wild to me. I don't normally do things like that. Normally it's about like 20 pages and then I have to like do something else. Like, my attention span has been really short for things recently, so like that was pretty cool, and I feel like I might do a similar thing tonight, honestly. I am also listening to Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This is one that's just been very talked about in like the booktube space right now. It's a sci-fi thriller and covers topics of quantum mechanics, which I think is really cool. I think consuming the book as an audiobook, which is what I'm doing, is what is helping me as someone who's like not super into science or physics or anything. It's not like when you read an Allie Hazelwood like STEMinist romance book and you can like kind of gloss over it, like these things are very pertinent to the story. But I'm liking it so far. I'm 50% of the way through it and I'm excited to see where it goes. And then I have started Beach Read on audiobook as well. I have just been doing a lot of driving lately. I'm going to be doing a lot of driving this upcoming week. So I'm excited. I got about 10% into this book when I was listening to it the other day, and I'm like already hooked. I want to keep listening to it, but I have these other things I have to do. But I'm excited to see where this goes. A lot of people say that this is their favorite Emily Henry book, and I'm excited to see why. This is my first experience with Emily Henry. I already love our main character, January, and kind of like the rage that she feels, and I love that she just like has a bottle of gin and just like drinks it straight. Like, I just thought that was like really kind of cool and funny. Like, she's a cool girl. Then books that I haven't started yet, obviously Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. I really do think that once I finish The Great Undoing, this is just gonna be like in my hands. Like, I have to keep it near me at all times. Like, this is the next thing. But then I also have Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I did purchase this book recently. I know it's on Kindle Unlimited, but it includes like a glossary of like kind of the slang and stuff since it takes place in the UK, which I really like, and that's part of the reason why I purchased the book. But I probably will end up reading a lot of it on my Kindle just because like this, I mean, these are Bible pages. What I've like heard, and at least with the summary, other than maybe the more like in-depth topics, I had to look up the list of trigger warnings. It's pretty long, but I decided, you know, I could handle it. It kind of gave me like Mag Parks vibes, so hopefully if I finish these books, this can help bring me back to life, because I already know that after this one, I mean, it's 700 pages, this is, so anyway. And then other audiobooks that I have checked out that I own are two Stephen King books. I have Carrie and Pet Sematary. I want to get to these. Both have been on my physical TBR for a long time. I know Carrie is Stephen King's first novel, and actually this would only be the second Stephen King book I've ever read. I have quite a few of his books in my physical TBR, but I have not actually read quite a few of them. And then I've heard Pet Sematary is probably one of the like most mind-fucky of all of the Stephen King books. But I'm excited to get to these. Hopefully I'm not like driving in the dark and scare the piss out of myself, but I am really excited to get to those. And then I have a few more audiobooks, but if I get to them, I'll let you know in my reading wrap-up next month. But then we're gonna go into the haul portion. So I went to Target, and I don't know, I think I was just feeling some type of way. I've been really trying not to buy books recently, and I feel like I've been doing a really good job. But I don't know, there's just like, I don't know, I was feeling some type of way, I guess. So I got 3 books. All of these are probably books you've heard of before, so I don't know what to say. They're books I haven't read yet. So I have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is about a woman named Clementine West who inherits an apartment from her aunt after she passes, and when she walks in, the apartment is actually 7 years in the past. A lot of people have been recommending this book and her other one, The Dead Romantics. She did just come out with a new book. I decided to pass on that one until maybe I knew a little bit more. Maybe I could check it out from the library. I don't know. I have checked out The 7-Year Slip from the library before. Clearly did not get to it, and that is kind of why I purchase books sometimes, is because I know that I want to read it, and I think I want to like make sure that it's like in front of my face so that I make it a priority to read it eventually. So that's the first one. The next one is Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. I have been eyeing this book for a while, if I'm being honest. It's about these 2 serial killers, but they're vigilante serial killers, and like the romance that ensues with that. So the way I think about it, and as someone who hasn't read the book, maybe this is like misguided, but I think that it's like if Dexter, who, if you have watched that series, it's about a vigilante serial killer who kills serial killers. So I just thought that, you know, this would be kind of fun. I don't know, maybe, I hope so. The second book just came out and it's been getting some pretty good reviews. So I don't know, like I said, I've been eyeing this one for a while, so I decided to pick it up. And then the last book I got was Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I did not get the Target exclusive version. It was not available at my store. It had already sold out. This is about a biotech engineer who falls in love with like a guy who is working for a company that like buys out her like research firm or something. Apparently it's a little bit more spicy. I've been hearing some mixed reviews on it. I'll be honest, like Bride wasn't my favorite, but I think it wasn't because of the writing, it was because of the story itself. Like, maybe that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but like the writing was good, but I feel like Bride didn't have a whole lot of direction. But I'm excited to kind of be back in the STEMinist world. I really think Ali Hazelwood does a good job with this. I would love to read more of her other like fantasy romances if she ever comes out with them. I wasn't traumatized by anything that happened in Bride like some people say they were, and that's well within their right. It was a little bit out there and different. But I really think that I will like this one. I really like the premise. I have been waiting for this book to come out for so long. So those are the 3 books that I got, and everything I read in June, what I want to read in July. Let me know if you like this format. I just thought, you know, sometimes my reading wrap-ups are a little bit short, and I don't really do anything to do like a TBR sort of thing. I mostly am just like, okay, I wanted to read this last month and I didn't get to it, so I'm gonna read it this month. I just thought that, you know, switching up the format and maybe just combining a few things would be more entertaining. So let me know what you think. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!